The fight for justice in Maple Grove. On a crisp Saturday morning in Maple Grove, a pristine suburban neighborhood in Ohio, Robert Callahan watched his 12-year-old daughter, Emily, shoot baskets from her wheelchair in their driveway. Emily, born with spina bifida, had a fierce spirit, her arms steady as she aimed for the hoop Robert had set at regulation height. "Nice shot, kiddo," he called, his heart swelling with pride. Emily grinned, her determination a beacon in their quiet world. But beyond their backyard, trouble was brewing. A storm named Margaret Ellison, the iron-fisted president of the Maple Grove Homeowners Association. Robert, a seasoned child welfare officer, had moved to Maple Grove after his wife, Laura, passed away from leukemia 6 years earlier. He wanted a safe, welcoming place for Emily, with good schools and accessible parks. The neighborhood seemed perfect, with manicured lawns and community events. But Margaret, who lived in the grandest house on Elm Street, ruled the HOA with an unforgiving hand. For 8 years, she'd fined residents for minor infractions, targeting anyone who didn't fit her vision of perfection, especially those who were different. That morning, Emily wheeled toward Robert, her eyes bright. "Can we try the new swings at the park, Dad? The ones for wheelchairs?" Robert had fought for those swings at HOA meetings, clashing with Margaret for months until the board relented. "Let's go," he said, grabbing his jacket. The park was alive with families, kids darting across the playground, parents chatting over coffee. Emily spotted her friend, Sophie, on the slide and rolled over to join her. Robert settled on a bench, keeping an eye on her while checking work email, cases of neglect and abuse that weighed heavily on his mind. The peace was shattered with the sharp click of heels. Margaret Ellison stormed across the park, her blonde hair pulled tight, her designer purse swinging. "You," she barked, pointing at Emily, whose wheelchair had rolled onto the grass near the swings. "Get that thing off my lawn. You're ruining it." Robert's stomach sank. The grass was barely touched, but Margaret's voice drew stares. "It's a wheelchair, not a vehicle," Robert said, standing. "Emily has every right to be here." Margaret's eyes narrowed. "This park costs thousands to maintain. Your equipment leaves marks." Robert, keeping his tone calm, cited the Americans with Disabilities Act, explaining Emily's legal right to access the park. Margaret laughed, a cold, cutting sound. "Rights? Everyone follows the same rules, no exceptions." Families watched, some sympathetic, others uneasy. Emily's face flushed with shame as Sophie gripped her hand. Margaret's venom escalated. "If she wants to play so badly, let her get out and crawl to the swings. Prove she belongs." The words hit like a slap. Emily's eyes filled with tears, her confidence crumbling. The park fell silent, parents frozen, some recording on their phones. Robert stepped between them, his voice low but fierce. "You're harassing a child. As a mandated reporter, I'm documenting this." Margaret scoffed, but her confidence flickered. "You're overreacting. I'm enforcing standards." Emily's voice broke through, small and trembling. "Dad, I want to go home." As they turned to leave, Margaret shouted, "This is the problem, people who don't belong demanding special treatment. Find a place that caters to your needs." The cruelty stunned the crowd. Robert saw Emily shrink, her spirit battered. In that moment, he vowed Margaret would face consequences. His fight wouldn't be loud or violent, it would be strategic, using the system he knew best. That night, as Emily slept, Robert worked in his study, typing a detailed incident report. Her question before bed, "Dad, am I different?" cut deep. He answered, "You're special, Emily, but no less than anyone else." But Margaret's words had planted doubt. Robert researched the HOA's records, uncovering a pattern. 52 violations in 3 years, targeting elderly residents, single parents, and minorities. One family, the Martinezes, had been driven out after Margaret harassed them over their autistic son's meltdowns, even filing a false CPS report. A knock came late. It was Harold Ellison, Margaret's husband, polished but nervous. "Can we talk about today?" Margaret may have been harsh. "Let's find a quiet solution." Robert was unmoved. "Your wife told my daughter to crawl. That's abuse, not a misunderstanding." Harold hinted at Margaret's connection, judges, council members' warning of a messy fight. Robert stood firm. "Threatening me won't help. I'm pursuing every legal avenue." Harold left, his face hard. Monday, Robert took his evidence to his supervisor, Carla Rivera, at the county child welfare office. "This is personal," she warned, reviewing his report. "Can you stay objective?" Robert nodded. "It's not just Emily. Margaret's a serial abuser." Carla assigned Tom and Gwen as co-investigator for impartiality. Together, they built a case. Sophie's mother, Rachel Bennett, provided a damning video of Margaret's tirade. Maria Martinez, now living an hour away, testified about the false CPS report that nearly destroyed her family. Margaret tried to counter. Harold met Robert at a coffee shop, offering a public apology and a donation to a disability charity. Robert saw through the ploy. This isn't about money. It's about justice. Harold's tone darkened, mentioning Margaret's allies in county government. Robert smiled. Threatening an officer is a crime. Keep talking. The recorded conversation became key evidence. By Friday, the district attorney filed charges: emotional abuse of a minor, filing false reports, and harassment. Margaret was arrested that afternoon. Robert sat Emily down that evening. Mrs. Ellison was wrong, and she's facing consequences. Adults can't hurt kids like that. Emily's eyes lit up with cautious hope. Will she go to jail? Robert was honest. Maybe, but she'll never hurt you again. 3 months later, in courtroom 4C, Judge Evelyn Harper delivered Margaret's sentence. Testimonies from Rachel, Maria, and an elderly resident, Mrs. Gupta, painted a picture of systematic abuse. The video of Emily's humiliation sealed the case. Your actions were a betrayal of trust, Judge Harper said. Telling a child to crawl is cruelty that scars. Filing false CPS reports weaponized a system meant to protect. Margaret received 6 months in jail, 3 years probation, 500 hours of community service with disability organizations, and a permanent ban from HOA leadership. She stood, pale, as her world collapsed. 6 months later, Maple Grove was unrecognizable. Rachel led the HOA, implementing anti-discrimination policies and funding accessibility upgrades. The park, once a battleground, now had sensory-friendly equipment and a garden honoring all children. Emily's confidence returned. She made the regional wheelchair basketball team. At her high school graduation years later, she spoke as valedictorian, studying law to advocate for disability rights. Someone told me to crawl, she said. Instead, I learned to stand for others. Margaret served her time and worked at a disability advocacy center, reportedly transformed. Robert hoped she'd learn compassion. He and Emily never saw her again. She and Harold moved away. On quiet evenings, Robert watched kids of all abilities play in Maple Grove, a true community at last. Emily's resilience had turned pain into purpose, proving that justice, fought for with love and determination, could change everything. What do you think about this story? Have you faced or witnessed bullying or injustice in your community? Share your thoughts in the comments. Should we confront cruelty head-on or seek quieter solutions? Let's discuss how we can make our neighborhoods safer and fairer for everyone.